Every game says it's a masterpiece, but let's be real, most of them are lying.
Welcome to Good, Great, or Garbage, the series where I play games that you're talking about and some that you probably should have ignored. We're talking new releases, underrated gems, and just some overhyped disasters. And there can only be three outcomes: good, great, or garbage.
Please do keep in mind that these are all my personal opinions based on my experience with the game at the time of recording. I may not know everything about the game, so just bear with me.
Greetings, Shadow-New-Skays, and welcome to another episode of Good, Great, or Garbage. And before today's video begins, I want to say if you're interested in suggesting any games for me to review, make sure you join my Discord down below and drop some suggestions in the suggestions channel. The game today is Archemera. I'm just hoping that's how you say that, I don't know. Said to be a Souls-like co-op PvE dungeon crawler. That's a mouthful. Pause. Now, Souls-like Roblox games have a history of being criminally underrated or implementing too many different colliding aspects that just ruin the player experience. The game is currently sitting at a little over 700 players, 18,000 favorites, and only 800,000 visits. A bit more on the underrated side of Roblox. But with quite a few different content creators covering this game, it had a few player spikes and it still is having player spikes. Usually I'd get into the overview of the game, you know, what I enjoyed about it, but for today's episode we're just gonna do this backward and hop right into where it falls short or the flaws I think this game may have. As you know, Archemera is a Souls-like dungeon crawler. Souls-like dungeon crawler. These two aspects alone collide. That's just my opinion. Now, dungeon crawler games are meant to have a great sum of repetitive gameplay, while Souls-like games are typically more vast, offering flexible forms of progression with the main focus being the game's combat. Having these two types of gameplay go together doesn't really fit, but I'm not saying it cannot work, because it can. The main problem is not too many people really enjoy repetitive gameplay loops with linear progression. It just gets boring, and that's just being 100% honest. Like, do you want to hop in a game, explore a map, kill the same enemies, hop out the game, do it again just to get a cooler looking weapon? I think not, but if that interests you, this is the game for you. Along with the repetitive content loop, the leveling system can come off as not beginner friendly. Unless you're running with a squad of 4 players or have an overpowered friend helping you, bro, you're going to spend a good amount of time trying to gain a singular level. In my experience, I did like 3 different missions, totaling to like half a level. I mean, I was kind of confused with the game, I was new to it, but in my 2 hours of progression, I only reached level 4. Level 4. Now, if the max is level 10, hey, but I saw someone level 30, so math not math, man. There isn't much variety with the weapons you get to choose from. All the weapons look different, but kind of feel the same. Each one of the weapons you're offered is a type of heavy weapon that swings the exact same speed, just differently. I didn't actually get to fact check this, so I'm kind of going off the dome with how the game felt to a freshly new player. I hope y'all can understand that. Upon hopping in and doing that little tutorial, you think there's kind of a delay. You know, when you swing the weapon, it's kind of you click and then it swing. But in reality, you swing a 10-ton weapon twice the size of you. But after about like 30 minutes to an hour, you do adjust to it. So I guess it's not really a flaw if you do like playing with heavy weapons, but if you don't, you just gotta have to suck it up for now. I do think they should add varying swing speeds, you know, for different weapon classes, or like a dagger class or a lance class or just a sword class with a faster swing speed, because not everybody wants to play a heavy weapon. I think that would help the game a lot, but I'm not sure what additions they're working on in the future regarding weapon classes, maps, cosmetics, and you know, other basic implementations. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna just wrap this section up. Now, I'm not here to get into the nitty gritty and nitpick at each small flaw that the game may have. Those are just the big things that kind of stood out to me during my experience. Speaking of that, on to my experience. Hopping right in, you're welcome with a content tutorial that tells you everything you need to know about this game, its mechanics, how to progress, what to expect. Truly a tutorial of tutorials. If you want to go in blind, you're free to skip it. You're just gonna be a little confused. It's all good. Now, I was fortunate enough to have a few of y'all on stream, you know, help me out during this, so I wasn't going to my first dungeon blind and confused. And I must say, god dang, this game was beautiful. I'm talking the animations, the parry effects, weapon types, weapon skins, the NPCs, the bosses, Everything looked wonderful. But as we know from these Roblox trends, a good looking game does not mean a good game to play. However, this game is a little bit of both. The main gameplay loop is you hopping in a dungeon solo or with a squad of 4 different friends completing different floors, each having one of 3 objectives: sabotage, secure area, and assassinations. Yes, we talking bosses. The pride of a Souls game, and let me tell you, this game got potential when it comes to bosses. Currently, there's only like 2 bosses in the game that I know of. One being, you know, a little humanoid one that you can just parry, dodge, and attack, and the other one being a goddamn stone giant. Big man, big damage. Both are pretty basic with simple attack patterns that aren't too hard to adapt to, but just based on these 2, there's actually a lot they can implement into the game. Like just seeing these 2 bosses, it's like you see the potential routes that they can take. Like imagine a dragon. I'm always throwing dragons. Dragons are goddamn cool. I feel bosses in Roblox games are commonly overlooked as a part of the Roblox progression system. Sometimes devs tend to focus too much on how strong a boss might look more than the actual boss fight itself. Like I can count on more fingers than I got hands, if that don't even make sense. But I can count more times than none where a boss looked crazy strong in a Roblox game and it was just a bandit beat.
Yep, this is it, man.
Now, one of my favorite things aside from the bosses is the game's music. I like this music though. The music is musicking. Oh my gosh. It's pretty simple, but look, I'm a huge music nerd when it comes to building the atmosphere for a game. It drives me crazy hearing the same old copyrighted tracks that don't fit in the scene at all, that don't go with the aesthetic, that's not matching the boss. They just slapping music on there just to have some in there. Like, no, bro. But Archemera doesn't disappoint with that music. Now, I ain't finna glaze this topic because I don't even know if this game's music is copyright. So I could be giving them more props than they deserve, but they was doing their thing with the music, I ain't gonna lie. Anyways, moving on to the general feel of the game, the combat is actually not that fluid in my opinion. And like I said earlier, it's because of the 10-ton weapon that makes fighting moving targets feel like a nightmare, bro. God dang. You'll be losing the same big 25% chunk of your stamina per hit trying to hit a target that moved back 2 feet. This is kind of a neutral point in me just like not enjoying that part of the game personally, because if they did decide to add other weapon classes with faster swing speeds, this wouldn't be a problem at all. But kind of forcing players only to use a heavy weapon and swing goddamn take 30 years to hit an enemy for it to jump back. Come on now. The parries in this game are pretty rewarding. Apparently it ain't common sense to have a satisfying parry effect in these Roblox games, bro. Dodges, if timed correctly, protect you from any damage. They're quite restrictive and slow. Now, I didn't get far enough in the game to see if leveling up your stats actually helps your dodges and speed, because I only gained like 4 levels. There's 7 different attributes to invest your stats into, allowing a completely flexible way of playing the game based on how you see fit. So if you want to do damage, put your stuff in strength. If you want to have movement speed, put it in stride and stamina. And the one thing this game does that needs to be done more in Roblox projects is stat resets. Now let me tell you how the stat resets works in this game. You go in, you see the stat reset button, you click it, and it resets your stats. Simple. No Robux, no Game Pass, no grueling side quest that takes 45 minutes just to give you a stat reset token. Just a simple click of a button. I can honestly see both sides of why this game doesn't have as much exposure, as the idea is kind of niche, I'm not gonna lie. Amongst Roblox players, not many people like Souls games, not many people like dungeon crawlers, and not many people like PvE only games. So it's natural that slapping them together ain't exactly gonna do too much good, because it's not a lot of people in each one of these categories. So I can see how a lot of people would steer away from it. However, I do think it's 100% a pretty good game with a bunch of potential that's worth a try for anyone who's interested. Games like this do suffer from lack of content, so I hope the devs decide to add a whole bunch of content, dang near an overwhelming amount of content, to keep things entertained, to keep players returning, and just keep the game's momentum going. Anyways, I don't want to rant for too long in this video. That was just kind of like my gameplay with Archemera, or Archemera, I don't know. So if you're interested in Archemera, I suggest you get 1 or 2 friends and hop in for yourself. The game's link can be found in the description of this video. With that, if there's any devs, content creator managers, or anyone like that wants me to review your game, feel free to shoot me a DM on Discord. And for anyone who's interested in me as a content creator, do be sure to check out my playlist section in my channel page, where I played a whole bunch of other games, some Roblox, some non-Roblox. And with that, hope y'all enjoyed today's episode of Good, Great, or Garbage, and I hope to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.